Everyone in the city knew his name. Arman Khan. A billionaire. A man with everything, luxury cars, tall buildings, private parties, and money that could buy almost anything. People respected him, feared him, and some even dreamed of becoming like him. But Arman had one problem. He never believed in love. For him, love was just a word, nothing more. In his world, everything was a deal, a transaction, or a game. One evening, Arman sat in his private lounge with a group of friends. The room was filled with music, laughter, and the smell of expensive wine. His friends started teasing him. "Arman, you can buy the whole world, but you cannot buy one thing, true love," one of them said with a smirk. Arman leaned back on the sofa, his cold eyes shining with arrogance. "Love," he laughed. "Love is for fools. People fall in love, then suffer, then cry. I am not that stupid. I don't need love." The group laughed with him, but one friend wanted to challenge him. "All right, Mr. Billionaire. If love is such a joke, why don't you prove it? Pick a girl, a simple girl, not one of your rich fans. Make her fall for you. If you can do that, we'll accept you are right." Arman raised his eyebrows. "And what if I fail?" "Then you lose," the friend replied. "You lose your pride. Simple." Arman thought for a moment. His lips curved into a half-smile. "Fine. I accept your challenge. 30 days. I'll make any girl fall in love with me. Just show me the girl." The group clapped and cheered. They believed Arman could win any game. But none of them knew that this one bet was going to change his life forever. The next morning, Destiny introduced him to Maya. Maya was not rich. She worked in a small cafe in the busy part of the city. She lived a simple life, with big dreams hidden in her heart. Her father was sick, her mother worked in a tailor shop, and Maya was the one who carried the family's burden with silent strength. Arman's car stopped outside the cafe. His friend had chosen this place. "That's the girl," his friend whispered. Maya came outside carrying a tray of coffee for a customer. She wore a plain dress, her hair tied simply, and there was no expensive makeup on her face. But her smile, innocent and real, caught Arman's eyes for a second. Still, he shook away the thought. This was just a bet. Arman walked inside the cafe. All the customers turned their heads, his presence was impossible to ignore. Maya walked to his table. "Good morning, sir. What would you like to order?" she asked politely. Arman looked at her and smiled confidently. "Maybe I don't want coffee. Maybe I want to know your name instead." Maya frowned. She was used to rude customers, but this man looked different, too sharp, too sure of himself. "Sorry, sir," she replied firmly. "I am here to serve coffee, not names." Her voice was soft but strong. For the first time, someone had answered Arman like that. Most girls would have been excited to talk to him. But Maya didn't care. Arman leaned forward. "You don't know who I am." Maya shook her head. "No. And honestly, it doesn't matter." That answer hit him like a challenge. His friends watched from another table, whispering and laughing. The game had begun. Arman ordered a coffee, but when Maya placed it on the table, he looked at her again. "Do you believe in love?" he asked. She stopped for a second. Her eyes met his. "Yes," she said calmly. "Love is real. Maybe not for everyone, but for people who have hearts, it is real." Arman stayed silent. Her words touched something inside him, but he quickly pushed it away. This was not about feelings. This was about winning. When Arman left the cafe, he sat back in his car with a smirk. "Interesting girl," he whispered to himself. That night, he stood on his balcony, looking at the shining city lights. The bet sounded easy in the beginning, but Maya's eyes told a different story. She was not going to fall for his usual tricks. She was different. And maybe, that was the real danger. Arman smiled, but this time it was not his usual arrogant smile. It was something else. Something even he could not understand. He whispered softly, "This is going to be fun." But deep inside, he had no idea. This was not just a game anymore. It was the beginning of a story that would break him, change him, and maybe, even save him. The next morning, Arman woke up earlier than usual. Something about that cafe girl stayed in his mind. He told himself it was only the bet, but deep inside, her words from yesterday still echoed, "Love is real, for people who have hearts." Arman shook his head. "Nonsense. This is just a game. I will win, like always." He dressed in casual clothes, something less fancy, and drove back to the cafe. Maya was surprised to see him again. "You," she said, raising her eyebrows. "Back so soon?" Arman smiled. "Maybe your coffee is better than I thought." Maya crossed her arms. "Or maybe you don't have better things to do." Her honesty was sharp, but Arman liked it. No one ever spoke to him this way. Everyone either feared him or wanted something from him. But this girl, she didn't care at all. Arman began with small gestures. He left a big tip on the table. Maya immediately picked it up and placed it back in his hand. "I don't need your money, sir. If you like the coffee, just say thank you. That's enough." Arman was shocked. For the first time, someone had refused his money. The next day, he tried again. He sent flowers to the cafe with a small note, "For the girl with the honest eyes." But Maya didn't smile. She placed the flowers outside the shop and continued her work. Day after day, Arman kept coming. Sometimes he tried compliments, sometimes jokes, sometimes expensive gifts. But Maya never accepted. She treated him like an ordinary customer. His friends laughed when they met him in the evening. "So, billionaire, how's your bet going? That simple girl giving you a hard time?" Arman hid his frustration behind a fake smile. "Relax. I always win. She'll fall soon." But the truth was different. He had never met someone like her. Maya was strong but gentle, simple but proud. And the more he tried to act, the more he found himself actually enjoying her company. One rainy afternoon, Arman entered the cafe again. The streets were wet, people were rushing with umbrellas, but Maya was standing near the door, helping an old lady carry bags inside. Her kindness was natural, not for show. Arman watched silently. Something inside him moved. When she came to his table, he asked softly, "Why do you always help people? Even strangers?" Maya looked at him. "Because everyone is fighting their own battles. A small act of kindness can make someone's day lighter." Her words touched him, but he quickly covered his feelings with a smirk. "You really believe such small things matter?" "Yes," she replied firmly. "Because in the end, small things build the big things." Arman stayed silent. He had no answer. That night, alone in his mansion, he poured himself a drink but didn't touch it. He kept thinking about her. He remembered the way she smiled at the old lady, the way she spoke with confidence, the way she believed in small things. It was strange. He was supposed to win her heart as a joke, but slowly, it didn't feel like a joke anymore. The next day, something happened that shook him even more. As Arman was leaving the cafe, he saw a little boy selling roses on the street. People ignored the child, some even pushed him away. The boy's clothes were torn, his feet bare. Before Arman could react, Maya came out. She knelt down to the boy's level, gave him money for food, and even bought a rose from him. She smiled warmly and said, "Don't lose hope, little one. Life will get better." The boy's eyes shined as if someone had given him the world. Arman stood frozen. For years, he had given away money in donations, but never with heart. Maya's one small gesture had more power than all his wealth. He looked at her differently now. Not as a target for his bet, but as someone who carried a rare light in her heart. That evening, when Arman met his friends, they teased him again. "Only 2 weeks left, Arman. Do you think she will finally fall?" Arman forced a smile. "She will. Don't worry." But inside, he was not sure anymore. Was he really trying to win? Or was he the one slowly falling? His heart and his mind were at war. And as the days passed, he knew one thing for certain: this bet was no longer simple. It was turning into something dangerous, something he had never expected. Because for the first time in his life, the billionaire was not controlling the game. The game was controlling him. Days kept passing. The cafe had almost become a second home for Arman. Every morning, he would arrive with some new plan to win Maya's heart. But slowly, those plans began to fade. At first, it was about the bet. But now, he was coming for something else. He enjoyed the way she talked, the way she argued, and even the way she scolded him sometimes. Her honesty was refreshing. For a man who lived in a world of fake smiles and greedy people, Maya was different. But Armin never showed his real feelings. He told himself again and again, "Don't forget. This is only a bet." One evening, the cafe was less crowded. Maya was cleaning the tables when Armin entered. "You work too much," Armin said, sitting down. Maya smiled faintly. "Hard work is part of life. Not everyone has it easy." Armin leaned forward. "Why don't you take a break? Spend some time with me. Just a walk, nothing more." Maya hesitated. She looked into his eyes, searching for something. She wanted to trust him, but a voice inside warned her to be careful. After a pause, she said softly, "All right. But only for a short walk." For the first time, Armin felt victory, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like happiness. They walked through the quiet streets. Streetlights glowed, and the cool air carried the smell of fresh rain. Maya asked him questions. "Why do you always come here? Don't you have big parties, rich friends, and luxury places to visit?" Armin chuckled. "Maybe I'm bored of that life." "And what makes you think I'm not bored of your visits?" she teased. He smiled. "If you were, you wouldn't be walking with me right now." For a moment, Maya laughed. That sound, pure and innocent, touched something deep inside Armin's chest. The next days, their bond grew. Maya started opening up. She told him about her sick father, her mother's hard work, and her own dreams of opening a small bookshop one day. Armin listened quietly. No one had ever shared such personal things with him. People usually talked to him only about money or business. But Maya, she trusted him with her heart. That night, when Armin returned home, he looked at his reflection in the mirror. His chest felt heavy. "Am I lying to her? Am I using her, just for a bet?" he whispered to himself. For the first time, guilt entered his heart. The deadline was coming closer. Only 3 days were left. His friends kept reminding him. "So, Armin, are you ready to win? Almost time to celebrate." But their words did not excite him anymore. Instead, they felt like poison. Because in those 3 weeks, something unexpected had happened. Armin had started to fall in love, real love. But how could he tell her the truth? How could he admit that all of this began as a cruel game? One afternoon, Maya surprised him. She brought him to a small park where children were playing. She said, "This is where I used to come when life felt heavy. These kids remind me that happiness can be simple." Armin watched her closely. Her eyes were filled with kindness, her smile carried hope. And in that moment, he knew, he didn't want to hurt her. But the truth was a shadow following him everywhere. Maya looked at him with soft eyes. "You know, Armin, I think I was wrong about you. At first, I thought you were just another rich man trying to show off. But maybe you're different." Armin's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to hold her hand, to confess his real feelings. But the weight of the bet chained his mouth shut. That night, he couldn't sleep. He walked through his empty mansion, every room silent and cold. For the first time, he felt lonely. Truly lonely. He realized something shocking. All his life, he had been surrounded by money, but never love. Now, standing on the edge of losing Maya, he finally understood what he was missing. 2 days left. Maya was beginning to fall for him. He could see it in her eyes, in the way she smiled when he walked in the way her voice softened around him. But instead of celebrating, Armin was terrified. Because soon, the truth would come out. And when it did, she would hate him forever. He sat on his balcony, staring at the stars. His chest felt heavy with regret. He whispered to himself, "What will I do? Win the bet, or lose her forever?" And that night, for the first time in his life, the billionaire closed his eyes and prayed. The cafe was busy that morning, but Armin's mind was somewhere else. He had barely slept. Only 1 day was left before the bet ended. His friends kept calling, reminding him of their plan to celebrate his victory. But Arman didn't feel like a winner. He sat at his usual table, watching Maya move between customers. Every smile she gave felt like a knife to his heart. He wanted to tell her everything, to confess that their story had started with a cruel bet. But fear held him back. Fear of losing her forever. Maya noticed his silence. "You're unusually quiet today," she said softly. Arman forced a smile. "Just tired. Nothing serious." But deep inside, his chest felt heavy, as if the truth was clawing to get out. That evening, Arman's friends planned a private party at a hotel suite. The music was loud, glasses were full, and the group was in high spirits. "Tomorrow, you win, Arman," one of them shouted. "The poor cafe girl is finally yours. Who would have thought it was so easy?" Arman's face darkened. "Don't talk about her like that," he snapped. The room went silent for a moment. Then one friend smirked. "Oh, don't tell us the great Arman Khan actually fell for her. That was never part of the deal." Before Arman could respond, a soft gasp cut through the air. He turned around, and his heart dropped. Maya was standing at the doorway. She had come with a tray of drinks, hired as extra staff for the event. Her eyes were wide with shock. She had heard everything. The music seemed to fade. The people around them blurred. Only Maya's broken expression remained clear. Her tray slipped from her hands, crashing to the floor. Glass shattered. Maya's voice trembled. "So, it was all a joke. A game. A bet." Arman rushed toward her. "Maya, listen, it's not what you think." But she stepped back, tears filling her eyes. "Don't lie to me. I heard it all. From the beginning. I was just your entertainment." "No." Arman shouted desperately. "It started as a bet, yes, but..." "But what?" Maya cried, her voice breaking. "But now you suddenly discovered your heart. Do you think I will believe that? Do you think my feelings are toys you can play with?" Her words cut deeper than any knife. Arman's friends tried to hide their laughter, but he glared at them. "Enough. This isn't funny anymore." Maya shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "I trusted you. I let you into my world, my life, my heart. And all this time, I was nothing more than a joke to you." "No, Maya," Arman begged, his voice shaking. "Please believe me. I love you. I didn't realize it at first, but I do. I swear." But she turned away, her voice trembling. "Love built on lies is not love at all." Maya ran out of the hotel, leaving Arman frozen in the middle of the room. For the first time in his life, he felt powerless. Money, power, fame, none of it mattered. He had lost something far more valuable. The woman he truly loved. The next few days were like a nightmare. Arman searched for Maya everywhere. He went to the cafe, but she had quit. He asked her friends, but they refused to tell him where she was. His mansion, once filled with laughter and noise, now felt like a prison. Every room reminded him of her smile, her voice, her kindness. He replayed her words in his head again and again. Love built on lies is not love at all. Arman sat in his empty living room, holding the rose she once gave him. Tears filled his eyes, something no one had ever seen before. "I've ruined everything," he whispered. "For a stupid bet. I lost the only person who ever made me feel alive." Meanwhile, Maya was broken too. She stayed at her small home, refusing to step outside. Her mother noticed her pain. "What happened, Maya? Why do you cry so much?" But Maya only shook her head. How could she explain that the man she had started to love had betrayed her trust in the cruelest way? Every time she closed her eyes, she remembered Arman's smile, his promises, his gentle words. And every time, her heart reminded her, it was all a lie. Days passed like this. Arman, once the most confident man in the city, now looked like a shadow of himself. He stopped going to parties, stopped meeting his friends. He locked himself away, drowning in guilt. At night, he stood by his window, staring at the city lights, whispering Maya's name like a prayer. He knew he had lost her. But he also knew one thing, this time, he would not give up. For the first time in his life, Arman Khan decided to fight, not for money, not for pride, not for a bet, but for love. And in his heart, he swore to himself, I will win her back. Not with lies. Not with tricks. But with truth. Days turned into weeks. For the first time in his life, Arman Khan tasted the pain of emptiness. His empire stood tall, but his heart was in ruins. The world still saw him as a powerful billionaire, but inside, he felt like a beggar, begging for one smile, one word, one chance from Maya. His friends tried to cheer him up. Forget her, Arman. She was just part of the bet. Move on. But Arman's eyes, once sharp with arrogance, now carried a heavy sadness. He finally understood, Maya was not a bet. She was his truth. And he was ready to prove it. The change began slowly. Arman stopped wasting nights in parties. Instead, he started visiting orphanages, hospitals, and shelters, places he had only donated money to before, never really caring. For the first time, he was there in person. He served food to children, paid for medicines, even sat with the lonely old men who had no families left. People looked at him with surprise. The arrogant billionaire was helping with his own hands. But Arman didn't care about public opinion. He wasn't doing this for fame. He was doing it because of Maya, because she had taught him that small acts of kindness mattered. Every night, he wrote her letters he never sent. Maya, I was blind. I didn't know what love was until I met you. Now I know. And I will spend the rest of my life proving it, even if you never forgive me. One afternoon, as he was helping distribute blankets to poor families in a cold neighborhood, Arman heard a familiar voice behind him. Why are you here? He turned. His heart skipped. It was Maya. She had come with a charity group, carrying supplies in her hands. For a moment, time stopped. Maya, his voice trembled. I've been looking for you everywhere. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried the weight of old wounds. Stop, Arman. You don't need to explain. I don't want lies anymore. He shook his head quickly. No lies. Not anymore. Maya, I know I hurt you. I know I broke your trust in the worst way. But I swear to you, I have changed. I'm not here because of money. I'm here because of you. Because you showed me what real life is, what real love is. Maya's lips trembled, but she stayed silent. Arman continued, his voice breaking. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to love me again. But I will not stop trying. Even if it takes years, I'll prove that I am not the man who played that bet. I am someone new. Because of you. Maya walked away without answering. Her heart was in chaos. She wanted to believe him, but the wound of betrayal was deep. That night, she cried again. Not out of anger this time, but because she still loved him, despite everything. Weeks later, Maya was walking home when she saw a crowd gathered near a school. Curious, she went closer. There stood Arman, surrounded by children. He had funded the renovation of the school building, bought books, uniforms, and food for the poor students. But unlike before, he wasn't just writing checks, he was painting walls with his own hands, laughing with the kids, teaching them little lessons. Maya watched quietly from the corner. His smile was no longer arrogant. His eyes no longer carried pride. He looked human. And in that moment, she realized, this was not the same man she had met weeks ago. This was someone who had truly changed. That evening, Arman was leaving the school when he saw her waiting outside. His heart raced. Maya, he whispered. She looked at him, her eyes soft but wet with tears. Why are you doing all this, Arman? He stepped closer, his voice low and sincere. Because I want to be the man you believed I could be. Not the man who lied. Not the man who hurt you. But the man who loves you. The man who will never play with your heart again. Maya's tears rolled down her cheeks. She searched his face, his eyes, his words. For the first time, she saw no mask. No game. Only truth. Slowly, she whispered, do you really love me? Arman's voice broke. More than my life. Silence hung in the air. Then, with trembling hands, Maya reached out and touched his face. I hate what you did to me, but I can't deny what I feel. I love you too, Arman. I tried to stop, but I couldn't. Arman's eyes filled with tears. He pulled her gently into his arms, holding her as if he would never let go. "I promise," he whispered, "no more lies. No more games. From today, only truth. Only us." Maya nodded against his chest, her tears soaking his shirt. For the first time, she felt safe again. The billionaire bet had ended. What began as a cruel game turned into the most unexpected truth. Arman had lost the bet, but won the one thing he never believed in, love. And as they stood together under the fading evening light, one thing became clear. Sometimes, fake beginnings lead to real endings.